be storms that will
Papa Ramon was a steady presence in our family, a stronghold, someone we all relied on. He was looked up to by all of his siblings. He was loved, respected, and now remembered, especially for his heart.
Thank you for being a pillar of support to your family, your siblings, your nieces, and your nephews.
Papa Ramon was one of the nicest people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Sad to see him go so soon, but I'm sure wherever he is now, he's finally happy and his suffering has ended.
Because we lived apart from our family in the Philippines, it meant we got so little time with him, but he never let any moment slip by.
I know we all have wonderful and memorable moments with you.
So one memory I've always had, about Tito Ramon was whenever he'd come visit us here in Singapore, whenever, he was on his job, he'd stop by, give us like little gifts and stuff. I always enjoyed this little gifts, but, just having him around was enough. I was quite happy whenever he'd drop by. It was always exciting, having other family members around.
One of the most vivid memories I've had with Tito Ramon were, I think I was 7 and we arrived at Mommy's house, and he got me twin puff, and I'm 7, I'm obsessed with candies and ice cream, and I thought that was really sweet.
I think the memory that I think best honors Papa Ramon's legacy is when he took me to the back rooms of the church they worked at to show me all the AV stuff that they did, and it was a very complicated setup, and he did it because he knew that's what I wanted to do when I grew up, I was a teenager then, so when I grew older. I mean, I know in this family that when you're so far apart, you don't get to know every little thing about each person's life. I can't know everything about everyone because we just geographically aren't close. But even in that moment when he showed me to the back of the church and showed me the AV systems that they use, it showed me that he took an interest in what I liked, even though he probably didn't know everything about me. It showed that he cared and wanted to learn about it and wanted to know more and wanted me to learn more because he thought it would help me, or he thought I'd be interested in it. When you think about it in the short run, it's a small thing, but in a long run, I think it really taught me. It was a good sign that he cared about me.
10 years ago, you asked me what my dreams and aspirations were when I grew up. All I remember is that you told me that whatever I wanted to be, you would have my full support, and you would always pray for me, pray for my success. And that really stuck to me even today, 10 years after. Even though my dreams and aspirations now are different, I know I'd still get the same sort of support, that same God-loving memory of you. I really appreciate that, and it will stick with me as I grow up and find my own career.
When I was a little girl, probably around 5 or that age, I remember him buying me Darna coloring books, which is the Filipino version of Superwoman, because I was very much obsessed with her at that age. In another phone call, he told me how to cook beef steak. Beef steak is a soy sauce-based Filipino dish, and Papa Ramon told me the recipe. Except Papa Ramon can't actually cook. And he told me to put vinegar in the beef steak, which isn't part of the recipe. So I'm sorry, Papa Ramon, but I won't follow your recipe anytime soon. Maybe Ninang will teach me instead.
I remember when I visited the Philippines when we were smaller. All the cousins were smaller. We would all sleep in the same room. And one night, Papa Ramon was showing us a picture of Lola when she was 18. And it was really uncanny because I was beginning to look a lot like Lola when she was 18. And it was just kind of wild. So before Papa Ramon said goodnight to us, he taped that photo to the wall and whispered, "Goodnight, future hope." And I just turned the lights off and left. And it was so funny. I mean, we didn't stop laughing for 5 minutes. Looking back at it now, it's really a moment that I treasure. Not only because it was so funny, but It was really endearing to see Papa Ramon and his love for his mother and the excitement he has to see us kids growing to be more like her.
There was one specific moment though that I remember with him because it's never quite left my heart. We were in Ta'al with some of our family, and Ta'al is basically our hometown where our grandma's house is. I remember that afternoon we were hanging out at the front of the house. Papa Ramon was sitting next to me on a little bench, and to my surprise, he suddenly pulled out the Bible. I still remember the conviction and the passion with which he read and spoke to me about it. And at that point in my life, I didn't have anyone who pulled out the Bible and just read it to me. That was a really significant first encounter for me. But to him, it didn't matter where we were. He would use every moment to teach me, to teach other people about God. This is a message from Kuya Jello. Papa Ramon was a second father figure to me. He taught me a lot in terms of how to treat and respect people, how to be healthy, how to love and trust the Lord. I could turn to him for advice, and he was a really big male role model in my life. May his soul rest in peace.
What I admired most about Papa Ramon was his love for his family, for his parents, for his brothers and sisters, for his wife, and for his children. His appreciation for the past he shared with them, and his excitement for the bright futures ahead of them.
When I went back to the Philippines, this time a little older, without my parents, on a mission trip, he traveled all that way to see me in Manila. All I had with him was a few short hours, and he brought me to a coffee shop inside of a mall. It was the first time I'd spoken to him when I was in the cusp of adulthood, without my mom there, without any family members there, and I finally got to know who he was, not just as my family member, not just as my uncle, but as a person. He was open and transparent. He didn't leave any details out. He gave me all the wisdom he could give me to set me up for this journey of life. And I saw his heart in that small few hours that we got together. I saw his wisdom. Not once did I ever know him to be afraid. Not once did he stop loving. He never stopped finding the joy of living when he faced the sorrows of life. And every living moment was one he used to serve others, to bring glory to God. Because he was a man anchored by the grace of God. That was always something he said. Whether over a phone call or in person, that everything in his life was always by the grace of God.
You know, you've had a really long battle, and it wasn't the best of circumstances, but I know that you are resting in heaven, and it's been hard for you, but we won't forget you.
But I last saw him in the Christmas of 2019, and at this point, he really wasn't well anymore. I saw him and I was scared. Papa Ramon and my ninang Evelyn had come to see us in our apartment. When I hurried to go see them, he was napping, and I knew from that alone that something had changed. When I saw him napping on our small lounge, a thought hit me. It was a terrifying thought, that maybe one day I wouldn't see him again. It was the first time I'd seen him like that. And I knew Papa Ramon was weaker, and things were worsening much faster than I expected, more than I'd like to see it. See, his smile was strong, but his body was failing him. His greatest strength was his heart, but it was also his greatest weakness. The last time I ever spoke to him, I thought there would be more time. I thought that after COVID, we'd all get the opportunity to see each other again. It doesn't quite sit right with me that if we ever go back to the Philippines, that he's not going to be there anymore. Because I thought he'd always be there.
I know this past year has been really difficult for this family, and this does not make it easier. But I know especially now, Papa Ramon would want us to keep loving each other, to keep appreciating the beauty each of us hold, the strengths each of us share, the comfort that we can provide to each other.
And it's only as I've grown older that I've realized how little time we have on this earth, how little time we have to live. But Papa Ramon lived it deliberately, consciously. He always chose to live it in a way that glorified God. He was truly a man after God's heart. He was someone I looked up to, someone I aspired to be in my early faith journey. And he showed me how to be a person of integrity, how to spend my days, and how to love others beyond your own self. Maybe that was his greatest gift to me, his example. And one day I might not remember it as well as I once did, but I know that I'll carry everything he's shown me in my heart.
I know He'd be proud about how strong his wife, how strong his children, his brothers, his sister, his mother are acting, taking things day by day, no matter how hard.
And Papa Ramon left behind 3 strong women. He loved and will always love them with his entire heart. He left his strength and stubbornness in his eldest daughter, Ate Maurice, but she has a secretly brave heart. He left his childlike humor and gentleness in Ate Maru, his youngest daughter, and he gave his heart to Ninang Evelyn and left her the gift of love, the strongest and most defining force on this planet. And he lives on through them. He lives on through us all.
I just want to share with my Papa. Papa, I thank and praise God because you are my Father. Thank you because you taught me so many things, like the fear of God. In fact, while you were in ICU, you sent us a letter reminding me to fear God because this is the beginning of wisdom. To always read the Bible from cover to cover, and if I finish reading it, I will have wisdom, and God will help me finish my studies. To obey and honor my parents, indeed you showed me how to obey and honor your parents because you always walk your talk. You are my role model, Papa. Thank you for being the best father to us, who always wanted to give the best for his children.
I know Papa Ramon saw me growing to walk in Lola's footsteps, but I think it'd be nice if all of us kids also grow to be a little bit more like Papa Ramon. Kind, observant, and loving.
Papa Ramon will look after them for a year. We'll keep running this race. You can rest now.
I guess, the saying goes, gone but not forgotten. And I think that speaks very true here. He's made a lot of impact on a lot of people. And personally, he has done that for me, and he has done that for a lot of people.
I wish he knew, because I don't know if I can really put into words how much I care about him. And I know that in his family it's kind of hard to really express it all the time, but I hope he knows now.
I'm sure the joy of the Lord is eternally with you.
Thank you for your everlasting kindness and abundant love. We will miss you. Rest in peace, Papa Ramon.
Rest easy, Papa Ramon.
We're gonna miss you.
I love you very much, Papa, and I will not forget your teaching. To God be the glory.
Oh, my soul, I worship your holy